In our time of climate struggle, after we have passed the point of no return, but before things have too noticeably changed, we're left to wonder just how bad things will become. If it becomes as bad as they predict, we might cease to exist in the future. In the time between now and our eventual death, I wonder if humanity will continue to create and consume art. If the demand for food and water becomes so dire, I imagine things such as art will fall by the wayside and become so devalued as to turn into metaphoric debris, relics from an era of excess gone by. Imagine for a moment that you're living through such a water crisis when there simply isn't much left. In your state of dehydrated delirium, you grow weary for a drink to satisfy the thirst. Perhaps you find a sip of shade beneath a decayed tree or the dilapidated frame of a collapsed house, a respite from the downpour of infrared rain. Now keep this in mind as the smooth voice of June Christy enters the scene.
Something cool. I'd like to order something cool. It's so warm here in town, and the heat gets me down. Yes, I'd like something cool.
Simply too weak to demand it, too hot to try. Yes, you'd like to order something, anything cool. Please, this town has run completely dry.
My, it's nice. How you doing?
Good, Judy.
To simply sit and rest a while. Move over. Now I know it's a shame I can't think of your name, but I remember your smile.
The heat becomes unbearable, and this shade is only temporary. You choose to escape through memory, too occupied to remember anything logical like a name, but you remember a smile. You're transported, perhaps to a dimly lit bar, to your dining table set with a meal, to the sunny day when you sampled wine on vacation. The logistics do not matter. This moment's within the still point of the mind. The imagined scenario plays out.
I don't ordinarily drink with strangers. I most usually drink alone. But you were so awfully nice to ask me, and I'm so terribly far from home.
You're face to face with this stranger. You flirt with the specter of death before you, for it is the one who grants you this reprieve. Living within this memory, you are able to let your guard down for a while.
Do you like my dress? I must admit that it's very, very old, but it's simple and neat. It's just right for the heat. I've saved my furs for the cold.
You admit your lesser stature, the desert of poverty you now find yourself in. You also crack a little joke, as if you, in your current station, ever had the wealth for furs, as if there was ever a winter in which to adorn and luxuriate them.
A cigarette? Well, I don't smoke them as a rule, but I'll have one. It might be fun with something cool.
You've moved from harmless flirtation to towing the line. Those old rules no longer matter. Your health hardly matters in this state. If you couldn't wallow in those foxtails and raccoon coats, a cigarette, while cheap, still embodies that deadly glamour.
Now I'll bet you couldn't imagine that I one time had a house with so many rooms you couldn't count them all. I'll bet you couldn't imagine I had 15 different beaux who in the fall. And who would think the man I loved was quite so handsome, quite so tall.
These are all lies. You've owned nothing but your agonizing thirst. You've had no one but yourself and your nostalgic hallucinations. You've never been abroad, and you've never known any other season than this dreadful, drought-full summer. So you have fallen for death. We covet what we see every day, and through this turn of events, it's now all around you.
Well, it's through. It's just a memory I had, one I almost forgot, 'cause the weather's so hot, and I'm feeling so bad about a date. Wait, I'm such a fool. He's just a guy who stopped to buy me something cool.
To your astonishing credit, you admit your faults plainly. Your humanity is all you have left. The pennilessness of your person is finally recognized by all parties. The heat brings you back to this dry earth. Death is just a guy who stopped to buy you something cool. So you sing this to yourself when you go. After all, it predicted this inferno.